Happy Friday.
Good evening.
How's everybody today?
Right.
We hope you're having a wonderful Friday, and wherever you are, we hope the weather is nice for you, and we wish you a wonderful weekend.
Absolutely.
We are here today, Minister Joe Stevens and Coach Irene Stevens, and we are bringing you another topic.
That's another one.
This is video number 18, and the topic for today is outgrowing our britches. You didn't say that was a good one. He didn't say that was a good one. I guess I didn't talk to him about it enough until now, right? So whatever God brings is what I bring to him, but yeah. Hopefully you will learn some things and we will learn some things from you as well. So please like the video, comment, send us your questions, and add to what we're giving you. We like to hear what you have to say. So, you ready?
I'm ready.
He's ready for the topic that he knows nothing about and doesn't want to do. But we're gonna do it anyway. All right. So let's see how it goes. Might be a good one. All right. So outgrowing our britches, usually phrased as too big for our britches or too big for your britches, means acting overly confident or conceited or arrogant, often by behaving as if you are more important or more mature than you actually are. Now, how many of us know people that act more confident, conceited, and arrogant, or behaving as if they're more important than what they actually are? I know we all know some people like that. We too may have even done the same thing in our walk of 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years, however old you are. This implies having an ego that has outgrown your station, frequently used to describe someone overstepping their authority. Is that breaking it down a little bit more for you? Do you like it a little bit better yet?
Yeah, it's getting there.
Yeah. Frequently used to describe someone overstepping their authority. So the key aspects of this phrase, the definition: acting with an inflated sense of self-importance or haughtiness, the appearance or quality of being arrogantly superior or disdainful. Disdainful means showing contempt or lack of respect. So contextually, it is an informal, often Southern American idiom used to admonish someone for being presumptuous, which is of a person of their behavior, failing to observe the limits of what is permitted or what is appropriate. And all that simply means that it suggests that a person's pride or his ego, his or her ego, has grown too big for their metaphorical pants or their britches. All right. So similar to too big for your boots or having an inflated ego. Have you ever been guilty of being outgrowing your britches or too big for your britches? Did your mama ever said that to you?
No, my mom never said that to me.
Your mom never said that to you?
But
your mom might be watching. See what she
But
said.
I think there may have been other times in my life where I may have been acting a little too big for my britches, or some may say, you feeling yourself or smelling yourself a little bit too much. I think all of us have went through those circumstances where we've thought too much of ourselves, especially when you're in a position of leadership, and that's whether that's in the church or at work, and you feel like the things that you've been doing have elevated you to such a place where now you have no level of humbleness about yourself, and you think that the world revolves around you and nothing's happened and everything that's taking place is all because of you. And when you get into that place where you think it's all about you, and you're no longer recognizing God for the things that He's doing and done in your life, because there's nothing that we can even attempt to do without the blessings of God, without God bestowing it upon us, first of all. And even in the earthly realm, no matter how big you get or how high you get, there is always someone who has authority over you. There's always someone that's a level above you, and you should always render that respect to that person, and even to those who are under you. Everyone deserves respect, and when you get into that way in which you are acting too big for your britches, not only are you disrespecting those above you, but you are disrespecting those who are looking to you for leadership. And no matter what level you at, you should always render respect. And I know a lot of people always say, "Well, I don't give no one respect who doesn't give me respect." But it has to start somewhere. So there should always be a respect going back and forth. Whether you're
two-way street.
Yeah, whether you are the person in charge or in leadership, or you are following, everyone should respect everyone. That way we don't get too big for our britches.
Exactly. Or smelling yourself. That's probably what you heard. So yeah, I've heard people say in order to get respect, you have to give respect. But I like what you said. Give respect. It's a two-way street. Yeah. Give respect and respect back. If you give it enough, I guess you'll get it back. So great job. I like that. So in an informal way of saying or telling somebody that they're outgrowing their britches, or they're getting too big for their britches, or they're smelling themselves, would be to tell someone to remain humble. And you use the word humble in what you were just saying.
Yes.
All right. So, let me give you in a sentence. Ever since she got that promotion, she has gotten too big for her britches. Or you could, fill in whatever. To tell somebody that ever since you stopped drinking, or ever since you stopped smoking, or ever since you became bishop, or ever since you became president, you've gotten too big for your britches, or you're outgrowing your britches. Just simply say, remain humble. All right. And I also like, because I was going to ask you, well, what you said, you reference God, and I was like, for those who don't believe in God, what do they do? And you touched on it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said,
there's someone that you look to.
You should always have respect for others, period. And respect for yourself, because a lot of times when people are overstepping their bounds or getting too big for the britches, they're just being disrespectful, not only to everyone around them, but just being disrespectful to themselves in general.
Yeah. So outgrowing your britches is not really worded in the Bible that way, but the Bible addresses the underlying themes of pride, outgrowing old ways, and setting healthy boundaries to protect your growth. Scripture warns against prideful overconfidence in Proverbs 16 and 18, and encourages spiritual maturity, which requires leaving behind the old behaviors, and that would be in 1 Corinthians 13:11. So let's go to Proverbs 16:18, and we're coming from the King James Version. Pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. All right? And in the 1 Corinthians 13:11, New International Version, when I was a child, I talked like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I put the ways of childhood behind me. All right? Growing out of old ways. Spiritual maturity involves abandoning childish ways and, in some cases, distancing oneself from toxic environments or relationships that hinder God's purpose for your life, like in 1 Corinthians 13:11 and Matthew chapter 10, verses 34 through 36. Now, did you want to talk about any of that, or did you want to wait until after I talk about Matthew?
So, yes, pride does come before the fall. Often pride is the horse that's pulling that carriage of your destruction. We're seeing it a lot, all throughout the leadership, the celebrity community, the Christian community. We see a lot of prideful people. They're starting to come to the point of their fall because they have no longer they've gone so far away from what they were really supposed to be doing, and have inflated themselves so much that they no longer see right from wrong, and they just see, if I'm doing it, it's right. Whatever it is I'm doing, however it's I'm doing, I'm gonna do it my way. And we have to be very careful, whether it's on a job or in church or any organization. Make sure you can tell the difference between growth and between swelling. Because if something's swelling, yes, it's expanding, it's getting bigger, but that's because it has infection in it. It's not growing, it's swelling, it's getting worse, it's getting a bigger infection, it's leaving a dark mark wherever that situation is taking place at. And sometimes we confuse swelling with growth. Swelling comes from an infection, whether it's an infection of too much pride, whether it's an infection of misappropriating funds, was an affection of getting in the wrong relationships with people, and you think that nothing's happened yet, so you think that's okay. That's not growth. That's infection. That's swelling. That's something that's broken on the inside, causing bruising and swelling within that situation.
Yeah, I've heard people talk about your head is swollen, right? I'm not trying to say he has a big head. I didn't say that. You looked at me like I said I didn't say that. But I'm saying some people say your head is swollen, and you said you talked about I did it my way. We should always allow God to order our steps.
Yeah.
I do like that analogy or that metaphor that you used with the growth versus swelling. Yeah, that was pretty good. God will grow your ministry. God will grow your church. God will grow your friends. God will grow your relationships. God will grow your increase on your job. God will grow your finances.
Yes.
We don't grow those things. Now, you have to do certain things. You ask God, you pray about it, and then you move forward with it.
Yes.
But if He's not telling you to do it, but you're telling yourself, that's the swelling part of it. And eventually the swelling is going to burst, and all of the pus, all of the infection is going to come out. And that's a problem then. I like that. All right, so Matthew. Going to Matthew. Matthew chapter 10, verse 34 through 36. New International Version. Do not suppose that I have come to bring peace to the earth. I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. Verse 35. For I have come to turn a man against his father, a daughter against her mother, a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. 36. A man's enemies will be the members of his own household. Now, wow. So what does this mean? This is why we have to dig deeper, in our studies, right? So you probably wondering where I'm going with this. I'm going to tell you in 1 second. So in Matthew 10:34 through 36, what I just said means that accepting Jesus causes division or a sword between believers and unbelievers, often splitting families. That's where the man against his father, the daughter against her mother, the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. That's where that comes in at. It highlights that the true devotion to Christ demands a loyalty higher than familiar bonds or family bonds, resulting in opposition from those who reject Him rather than immediate earthly peace. You want to talk about that? You want me going to the sword? Because it breaks the sword down too.
Break the sword.
I'm going to break the sword down. So we already said that it means that accepting Jesus causes division or a sword. Alright, the key aspects of that passage. The sword as division. Jesus does not mean a literal weapon, but rather a figurative divider, like a knife separating good from bad, between those who follow him and those who do not. Conflict over peace. While Jesus brings internal peace with God, his message creates earthly conflict because it forces a choice. The sword represents the intense division and opposition that the gospel creates in a world hostile to God. Family conflicts. The prophecy that a man's enemies will be by the members of his own household indicates that faith in Christ can break close family ties when family members do not share that faith. And I'm sure you've seen that if you're a Christian and there's not another person in your family that's a Christian, that it breaks those family ties. It causes confusion. It causes havoc.
And a lot of that is conviction. Conviction on their part. If you're in the family and you may be new to Christ and the rest of your family is still not. Everyone has a conviction on the inside of them saying, I should really be trying to do the right thing and then be a follower of Christ. So that there's a friction in there. There's going to be a friction because they're not just fighting with you, but they're fighting with the voice on the inside of them, which is God, that's telling them to come on and become a part of the Christian kingdom.
Mm-hmm. Now that conviction, they may be convicted, but they're just not there yet, right? They're just not there yet. So a couple episodes back, we talked about don't be so heavily minded that you are of no earthly good.
Yeah.
Even though we're striving to get to the kingdom of heaven, we cannot forget about those earthly things, those family members who are not yet where we are, right. And we have to give them some grace. We can't Bible beat them every day and expect them to think that that's just something great that they're supposed to just stop doing whatever they're doing, right. Or supposed to be all in the Word like you are or we are. We just have to give them some grace.
Yeah, that's true.
Right, because those earthly things are still important. All right, so the cost of discipleship. This passage prepares followers to prioritize their relationship with God above all else, including family, right? Yeah. As mentioned in the following verses, Matthew 10:37 through 39. So the context, the warning comes as Jesus is sending his disciples out to preach, warning them of the persecution they will face for his sake, highlighting that the path of discipleship is difficult. So anybody who calls himself a disciple or a follower of Christ, and you're going out into the highways and the byways and even in your family, those little family functions that you have, that path is not easy. It can be difficult. It is spelled out for you in the Word.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. You want to add anything? I guess not. Okay. Managing pride. Outgrowing our britches often implies arrogance. Scripture reminds us that humility comes before honor, and pride leads to destruction, as explained in Proverbs chapter 13, verse 20. New International Version. Walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm. And setting boundaries. Protecting your spiritual growth sometimes means setting boundaries with difficult people to maintain your what? Your peace, your stewardship, and emotional health. And that's explained in Proverbs 4:23. Did you want to talk about Proverbs 13:20 before I move on, or you'll be going to Proverbs? And we're almost done. We're actually done after this one.
Proverbs 13.
So that's walk with the wise and become wise. For a companion of fools suffers harm.
I mean that's self-explanatory instruction. You know, have company around you that can teach you, that can help you to grow. And growth isn't always easy, because it's something that it always takes you into an area you've never been. It may change the way you speak, and it changes the type of relationships you have, because you're going to a level of elevation. And sometimes we get comfortable with being the big fish in the small pond. We're comfortable. We know all the areas. We know all the people. We feel big because we feel like we're maybe the smartest person
in the room.
In the room. But if you're ever the smartest person in the room for a certain amount of time, I'll say a certain amount of time, because you can be the smartest person in the room at times, but if you see that you're always the smartest person in the room, after a while you may be in the wrong room, because there is no room for you to grow. Because you need to learn from someone else. You need to have new experiences, so that you can continue to grow.
Well, do you think some people like to be the smartest person in the room all the time? That's why they might, train people that are less smart, or be in the environment of people who are less smart, so that they can, show that they, I'm this or I'm that.
So yeah, there's a comfort zone there, and you can often be intimidated when you're not the person that knows all the answers. And a lot of people don't have that level of humility to say simply, I don't know. Can you show me this? Can you show me that? I'm unfamiliar with this. But if someone's willing to show you or teach you, then you won't be unfamiliar with that.
Yeah.
And that's something new, and now you're growing.
Yeah. So walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm. And be humble. Every part of elevation should be, you're growing, but you should remain humble as you go. Don't get big-headed. Do not outgrow your britches. Do not be arrogant. All right? Because it's just not a good look, for number one. So let's go to Proverbs. Proverbs 4:23. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. This verse emphasizes that the inner self, comprising thoughts, emotions, and desires, is the source of all actions and the navigator of life's creation. It urges vigilant protection of one's inner life against negative influences to maintain spiritual and emotional health. Aligning with God. True growth means aligning with God's will rather than just personal ambition, which may require walking away from old, comfortable circles. All right? So if any of this resonated with you, someone that you know or yourself, and you feel like they or you have outgrown your britches in some way, ask them to just take a step back and humble themselves. Tell them how it looks to other people. Think about yourself. If you've showing signs of outgrowing your britches, or what was the other word? Outgrowing your britches, or too big for your boots, and what your mama used to say to you?
Feeling yourself.
You're feeling yourself.
Smelling yourself.
Smelling yourself. Take a step back and think about it, because it's not always a good look. And we all have room to humble ourselves. Was it an okay one?
I think that was a good one.
It was a good one? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. He had to go through it to think it was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Joe Stevens.
Yes,
thank you all very much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next Friday. Have a wonderful weekend, and God bless.